Odin is the supreme god of Norse mythology and is often referred to as the father of the gods. He is the leader of the Aesir, ruling over war, cities, knowledge, and magic, while also wielding immense and terrifying combat power. What stands out most about Odin is his nearly boundless thirst for knowledge. In mythology, he sacrificed one of his eyes to drink from Mimir's well of wisdom, granting him the ability to foresee prophecies of the world's end. But that was not enough. Seeking the secrets of the runes, mystical characters imbued with arcane power, Odin pierced himself with his own spear and hung upside down upon the world tree Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights. At that time, he was already the greatest of the gods, so the only being worthy of his sacrifice was himself. This reveals Odin's relentless pursuit of wisdom, even when he already held the highest seat of power. The runes carried mysterious powers, with each symbol bearing profound meaning. By mastering their secrets, Odin became the god with the most arcane knowledge, steadily strengthening his authority until he rose as the leader of all gods. Yet even a deity as mighty as Odin could not escape fate. During Ragnarok, the final apocalyptic battle, despite assembling his army of Einherjar, Odin was ultimately devoured by the giant wolf Fenrir and met his tragic end. It was a fate both grim and monumental for the most powerful of the gods. Interestingly, Wednesday in English derives its name from Odin, Woden's Day. In contrast, in Greco-Roman mythology, the same day is associated with Mercurius or Hermes. Some theories even suggest that Odin and Hermes are, in fact, two cultural reflections of the same divine archetype. Thor, the god of thunder, is celebrated as the greatest warrior in Norse mythology. In many respects, his strength even surpassed that of Odin. Thor serves as the original inspiration for the mighty Thor of modern culture. He is the son of Odin and the earth goddess Jord, embodying both the god of war and the bringer of rain and harvests, which also made him revered as an agricultural deity. His legendary weapon is the hammer Mjolnir, capable of striking with perfect accuracy and always returning to his hand. He also possesses the iron gloves Jarngripr to wield the hammer and the belt, Megingjörð, which doubles his strength. Historically, Thor was widely worshipped and at certain times even held in higher regard than Odin. Some scholars compare him to Zeus of Greek mythology, yet their personalities differ entirely. While Zeus is renowned for his amorous exploits, Thor is forthright, generous, and loyal to his companions, earning deep affection from the people. One famous tale recounts Thor's fishing trip with the giant Hymir. Using the head of a colossal ox as bait, Thor managed to hook none other than Jormungandr, the world serpent so massive that the very earth trembled. Thor and Jormungandr became eternal foes, destined to slay each other during Ragnarok, sealing their fate in a battle of epic tragedy. Another fascinating note is that Thursday in English originates from Thor's name, literally meaning Thor's day. Baldr was the god of light, the son of Odin and the goddess Frigg. He was renowned for his wisdom, gentleness, and the love he received from all beings. Out of deep concern for her son, Frigg traveled across all the realms, making every creature and object swear never to harm Baldr. As a result, he became nearly invulnerable. The gods, delighted by this protection, even turned it into a game. They would throw weapons at Baldr, only to watch them cause no harm, making him the center of joyous laughter. Yet Loki, the trickster, grew envious of the scene. Disguising himself as an old woman, he questioned Frigg and uncovered a single loophole. Mistletoe was the only thing that had not sworn to protect Baldr. Armed with this secret, Loki approached Hodr, Baldr's blind brother, placed a sprig of mistletoe in his hand and urged him to throw it. To everyone's shock, the harmless twig transformed into a deadly spear, piercing Baldr and taking the life of the god of light. Baldr's death was a devastating blow, marking the beginning of the tragic chain of events that led to Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. From then on, mistletoe carried a mysterious significance, appearing in countless legends, sagas, and even modern stories and games under the name Mistletoe. When Baldr fell, light and vitality faded from the world. His unjust death not only caused unbearable grief among the gods, but also heralded the inevitable downfall of their realm. Truly, Loki's cruel trick cast the entire pantheon into an inescapable tragedy. Freyr was the god of prosperity and abundance. The son of Njordr, god of the sea, and the giantess Skadi, Freyr was revered as the deity who governed rain and sunlight, bringing fertile harvests, wealth, and blessings to humanity. Although he originally belonged to the Vanir, he and his sister Freyja were sent as hostages of reconciliation in the peace treaty with the Aesir. From that point on, he became one of the most important gods among the Aesir. Freyr is often depicted as a handsome and radiant figure, the very image of a divine prince in Norse mythology. Yet behind this flawless exterior lies a rather awkward love story. During a journey to Jotunheim, he encountered the beautiful giantess Gerther and was instantly captivated. Love, as it often does, blossomed regardless of divine or giant lineage, and Freyr became the perfect example of such passion. However, Freyr lacked the courage to confess his feelings himself. He turned to his close friend Skirnir for help. Skirnir agreed, but demanded Freyr's magical sword and steed as payment. Freyr consented, and many scholars believe this sword to have been Levitine, a legendary weapon often mentioned in the myths. Skirnir sought out Gerther, but instead of gentle persuasion, he resorted to threats with the sword to force her compliance. This act cast a shadow over Freyr's noble image. Nonetheless, Gerther eventually became Freyr's wife, and their story concluded with a seemingly happy ending. The price, however, was far too great. During Ragnarok, Freyr faced the fiery giant Surtur. Without Levitine, Freyr fought in despair and ultimately fell, sealing his fate in tragedy. The love he gained cost him not only his ultimate weapon, but also his life in the final battle. Another legend claims that the first royal dynasty of Sweden, the Yngling lineage, descended from Freyr himself. If true, this suggests Freyr may once have been a historical figure whose life was later mythologized into legend. Freyja is the goddess of love and prosperity, as well as the twin sister of Freyr. In Norse mythology, she is considered one of the most renowned goddesses, associated with love, luck, fertility, and magic. She was a master of Seidr, a mysterious form of sorcery so powerful that even Odin himself once sought to learn it from her. People often turn to Freyja for guidance in matters of the heart, and her image as the embodiment of love made her one of the most revered deities. Yet alongside her divine stature, Freyja was also known for her passionate and uninhibited nature. She was said to have had many relationships with gods, spirits, and even mortals. Her irresistible charm left few able to resist her. In fact, during one assembly of the gods, Loki once mocked her by saying, "Is there anyone here who has not been Freyja's lover?" A biting remark that left the gathering in awkward silence. Some legends even claim that Freyja had relations with her brother Freyr and her father Njordr, something not uncommon in Norse mythology. Freyja was married to Baldr, but he was often absent, rarely returning home. Longing for him, she wandered the realms in search of her husband, weeping as she traveled. Her tears were said to turn into gold upon the earth or into amber when they fell into the sea. Even so, while Odr was away, Freyja continued to have many other lovers, giving her image a complex duality, sacred yet controversial, deeply venerated yet subject to gossip. Those golden tears were sometimes called the Tears of Mardul, another of her many names. One of the most famous tales of Freyja is the legend of her necklace, Brisingamen. During a visit to the home of four dwarves, renowned for their craftsmanship, she saw a magnificent golden necklace and asked to buy it. The dwarves refused, insisting it was not for sale. Freyja pleaded until they finally named their price. She must spend 4 nights with them, one with each. Freyja agreed, believing the necklace so precious that it was worth the sacrifice. From then on, Brisingamen became forever bound to her name, a treasure symbolizing both her beauty and her willingness to pay any price for what she desired. Beyond her role as the goddess of love and desire, Freyja also held another crucial responsibility. She commanded and trained half of the warrior souls known as the Einherjar, preparing them for the final battle of Ragnarök. Many are surprised to learn that this was also Odin's duty, but in truth, the task was divided between the two. This overlap often led people to conflate Freyja with Frigg, Odin's wife. Interestingly, Friday in English is believed to derive from the name of either Frigg or Freyja, further fueling the confusion between the two goddesses. Looking more broadly, one might think the Norse gods aspired to have all 7 days of the week named after them. In reality, they only secured a few. For example, Odin's son Tyr is the source of Tuesday, but the pattern does not continue beyond that. Even so, the influence of Norse mythology on human culture remains profound, and Freyja stands as one of the most significant figures in shaping that legacy. Heimdall is known by the title, the White Aesir. Perhaps many have heard little of him, since Heimdall seldom appears as the main character in the myths. Yet in Norse mythology, he holds a role of immense importance. According to legend, Heimdall was the son of Odin and 9 sea maidens, an extraordinary birth that could only belong to myth. He was called the White Aesir because he was born upon white sands, his body radiating with brilliance. Clad in white armor, his teeth shining like ivory, Heimdall stood as a figure of striking beauty. The sight of him guarding the rainbow bridge Bifrost was nothing short of majestic. But Heimdall was more than appearance. He possessed supernatural gifts. His ears could hear the sound of grass growing, and his eyes could see for hundreds of miles, even in the dead of night. Because of these powers, Heimdall was entrusted with the duty of guarding Bifrost, the bridge that connects Asgard, the realm of the gods, to Midgard, the world of humankind. With his sharp gaze and his ability to endure without sleep, he became the perfect watchman. Some traditions even suggest that Heimdall sacrificed part of himself, specifically one ear, in exchange for his power, a motif common in Norse myths. This heavy responsibility once made him the target of Loki's scorn. In one quarrel, Loki mocked him, "You're bound to toil like a slave, and yet you don't even see how foolish the Aesir have made you." These words not only revealed Loki's bitterness, but also underscored how arduous Heimdall's task truly was. In addition to guarding the bridge, Heimdall also possessed the horn Gjallarhorn. At the world's end, Ragnarok, he would sound it to warn both gods and mortals of the final battle. Its blast would summon all the gods and the Einherjar warriors of Asgard to arms. This, above all, was his greatest destiny. Heimdall also bore an eternal enmity with Loki. One famous tale recounts Loki's theft of Freyja's necklace, Brisingamen. Heimdall risked everything to retrieve it. In fact, the two even transformed into seals and clashed in a ferocious battle beneath the sea. In the end, Heimdall triumphed and returned the necklace to Freyja, demonstrating both his courage and Loki's unending penchant for mischief. And so, when Ragnarok finally came, the sound of Gjallarhorn resounded across all realms, and Heimdall fulfilled the greatest duty of his life. He faced Loki directly in a fierce and fateful duel, one that ended with both of them falling together. Their deaths were both tragic and symbolic, as though the two had been destined to be enemies, bound to each other until the very end. Thus, we have journeyed through some of the most important gods of Norse mythology. Each possessed unique traits and stories that shaped the mythic world. Yet this is far from the whole picture. Norse lore still teems with countless other figures: mysterious tribes, the valiant Valkyries, the hero Beowulf, terrifying monsters, and giants of immense power. All of them add their own vivid colors to the tapestry of myth, and their tales will be told in greater depth in the chapters to come. If you love the world of Norse mythology, be sure to look forward to the next videos. And if you enjoyed this one, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. Farewell, and see you next time.